What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here with another review, doing Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, number 14. It was okay. I read this on a recommendation from Yellow Flash. He said it was really good, or the series is really good. It's not bad. Maybe it's just not for like my taste. This one, not the series as a whole. That and I did the thing where I went looking for this, and I had to go to like my secondary comic shop, and they had it sitting right there, so I grabbed it, and then I realized that 15th is the newest one. So I'm reading a back issue. Oh well. So growing up, I always liked Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, just because of the costume, the kind of the original hoodie look, with kind of the blue vest. I liked the coloring, and I kind of liked his outside the suit web shooters. I always thought those were pretty cool. So to kind of as a recap, Ben kind of came back during the clone conspiracy over I guess a year and a half or so ago. He came back into the picture. He then moved to Vegas and is being the Scarlet Spider out in Vegas. He is out there with Kaine Parker, who again I wasn't really familiar with Kaine, but he was like the original prototype clone of Peter Parker, and so they've kind of teamed up to fight crime out in Vegas. Now maybe that's why I kind of wasn't too much of a fan of this book individually, just because it was more Kaine than Ben. Again, I kind of like Ben being Scarlet Spider a little more. But let's go ahead and dive in. And there were like some editing choices, which I will point out, that just blew my... They were like level 1 like misses. So you kind of start off, you get the cops busting into this hotel where they've heard some noise. So they look in, and there's this dude on the bed, and they say, it's like, is that Bruce Campetti? And apparently that's the quarterback for the Las Vegas football team, not the Raiders, fake one. And he said, he went that way. And they got, obviously there's a big hole, which they didn't see a big hole coming from the building anyway. So then it cuts to this Veterans Affairs Center, which in the catch-up they kind of went into Kaine's kind of becoming attached to this Veterans Center and getting some money to help save it. And here's kind of the payoff. This is Terry, who is a vet. She's lost an arm. She goes to this Veterans Center. Kaine likes her, and she's talking to her brother about how there's still good people in the world, but he's the backup quarterback for the Las Vegas football team. So when this is where editing mistake number one, I do like Kaine's face. It's like Pete, but a little more haggard. Like he's seen things. I like my clone to be a little distressed. So I kind of like the what they did there. But this was the editing mistake number one. So he just says, they're talking and having a conversation. He says, "Phone, hold on." You couldn't have like two little sound blurbs, like bzz, bzz, or like a ringing or something to say like, hey, there's something is telling him his phone is ringing. That was a little just irritating on my part, just kind of like a why. So he gets the news that the starting quarterback has a broken arm, and he's going to be starting in today's game, which anybody who knows football, he would have been at the game already, suiting up and getting ready to practice and doing warm-ups. So they decide, him and his sister go to, say they're going to go to the bank and then hit up the stadium afterwards. Kaine, having no spider sense, places a tracker on Carrie, who is Terry's brother, so he can kind of keep an eye on them. But what's weird is, so he says, they kind of give you a good little blurb. He says, good thing Peter gave me a handful of spider tracers. Of course, I don't have spider sense to follow them, but the electronic listening device in my ear will do just fine. Maybe, I mean, let me know in the comments. I'm 99% sure spider sense doesn't allow somebody to track them. And when Pete tracks people, he does the exact same thing with a spider tracer. So it was just kind of like a weird little blurb of what, like, that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how is spider sense going to help you, track, whereas, spider sense could help you avoid somebody tracking you, but yeah, it is what it is. Again, these are little things. Next you get, this is obviously Ben, that he's going around taking surveys, but he's not. He's come to question this man, but he doesn't want to show his face. I can only assume that he doesn't want to be in his costume as the Scarlet Spider, but he wants to cover his face so that this person, and I'm not gonna, you see, it's Mysterio, so that he doesn't recognize him. So he's kind of like, hey, I want to seem like I'm Peter, but I don't have a regular Spider-Man costume, so I'm just gonna kind of go as hiding my face. So he questions him a little bit. Next, again, kind of a lazy art choice. You have this whole blank panel. Like, you couldn't get some sort of roadway or like a skyline in the back. You just have a car. I mean, it seemed eh. And again, the art in this book to me was okay. It was passable, but that is just a blank panel. The next thing, so anybody who's been reading Marvel for the last year knows that Vegas was destroyed by Hydra Cap. That's where the Rebel base was. That was fighting against Hydra during Secret Empire. So they pretty much leveled it. But yet, back over here seems like a pretty, it's only been a year, yet that's a pretty healthy city. And then you get this little blurb. There it is, isn't it gorgeous? Only sustained some minor damage from the attack. It's like, compared to the rest of the city, this looks like a huge target. And yet it didn't. It only had some minor damage from those Hydra tentacle ships. Again, nitpicking. There are just little things in this. So, Carrie's going to sign some autographs when this Hippo comes out of nowhere. Let's see, what's his name? I think it's just the Hippo. So he attacks. Terry gets stuck in the car. He starts throwing it around. He's about to throw it at Carrie. And Kaine swoops in. Again, I like Ben's Scarlet Spider costume better than Kaine's. Kaine's, again, I don't know what it is with the red eyes for some reason. I equate with being a bad guy, and it's not. I think at one point he was, but again, I'm not a fan of the coloring and his costume design. So anyway, it turns out that this Hippo is there to take out Carrie because he is now the starting quarterback of the football team, and the person who hired him is obviously has a lot of money running on the opposite team, Vegas. Am I right? I mean, again, decent book. I'm gonna try and find 15, maybe in a second printing or special order, but just to kind of catch up. But I mean, the story was good. Editing choices really hampered it. I do like this cover, kind of like the matted tones and like the shadows and stuff. I like that, really good. But subscribe over here, watch some more videos. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will see you next time.